You and I know that today is the 12th of May. Well, we know because it's on the calendar and what your watch might tell you, your computer probably has. But for my next guest this afternoon, May the 12th is a very painful anniversary, but a special one as well, a day to commemorate. Tony Miller's son, Ashley, died a year ago today at the age of 18. He had a degenerative condition, and today Tony's launching online a book all about Ashley's life. Tony is from Ulverston, at least lives in Ulverston, and is with me now. Good afternoon to you.
Oh, good afternoon, Elaine, and thanks for having me.
What made you decide to put Ashley's life both on paper and on the internet?
Well, actually, Ashley was quite involved on the internet. He used to play a game called RuneScape, and he was one of the top players. And he also used to make little videos on YouTube. When he passed away, I mean, there was a lot of tributes came in, you know, and then I had a little YouTube account as well, and they started flooding in me as being his father. So a lot of the kids were quite young. They were 15, 16, 17 that would really, really look up to him. And a lot of them, I went on their YouTube account and they said they don't read books. And I thought,
So you really discovered who actually social networking people were.
Yeah, that's right. They ranged from 14-year-olds right up until 30-year-olds that would be on this game. I could give two ones that really touched me, if you like. There was one little Muslim boy. You know, he was 16 years old, and he said he's given a prayer to Allah to have a space in heaven for a non-believer. The other one was a 24-year-old sergeant who just from the United States Army, who told me he was about to go on his third tour of duty to Iraq, and his wife was expecting their first son, and he asked me, how do you bring up a son to be like Ashley? And that blew me away.
What can you reply to something like that? It's very, very difficult. Can we go back to the beginning then? Ashley had one of those horrible medical conditions that gets progressively worse. What was his condition? When did you find out that there was something to worry about? Right.
Well, Ashley was born in September 1989, and it was such an easy birth that we didn't, sort of think anything of it, especially after his older brother was such a difficult one. But then it was 2 days after, and I was at home looking after his brother Damien, when I got a phone call from Kerry, and he said they're going to be doing extensive tests, mainly on his brain, to see if there was anything wrong, because I couldn't understand why he was so sort of floppy and listless like that.
So every new parent's dread, there's something wrong with our new baby.
That's right.
What did they find?
Well, at first they went through all the tests on his brain, and they all sort of came out negative, and so they put it down to congenital myopathy, which just means low muscle tone at birth. They said if we wanted any kind of certain diagnose, he'd have to have a biopsy, and they didn't want to put him through that. And also,
and who would?
No, and also that there wouldn't be any difference in what they could do anyway.
So what happened after that then? When did you begin to realise that there was a major problem after that?
Oh, well, virtually straight away. And we were sort of just living with, this congenital myopathy, and he seemed to be not too bad. He wouldn't run, and actually, the part of the story was we were in Melbourne, and he was just over 2, and I'd just got a job in Devonport, so we were moving from Melbourne to Ulverston to live, and it was the 1st of November 91, and that very day we just came in on the boat, and that very day he took his first steps, and it was a moment of great triumph. We thought, this is it. It's all going to be sort of
It's
fantastic.
going to be all right after
Yeah, it was sort of like a blessing.
Tony, what was Ashley's condition?
Right, well, it wasn't until he turned about 12 that he was developing scoliosis, bending of the back, and that was affecting his breathing at night. And he would wake up quite washed out, quite listless, and
so sleep wasn't refreshing at all.
No. So he was having his, rods put in his back to try and straighten the back, and they said that they wouldn't do it until he had finished growing until after puberty. But then it got so bad that they decided to do it there and then. And I wish I could sort of talk to Kerry because she was there, and apparently he woke up. He took a long time waking up after the operation, and he was in a bit of a daze, swearing, and that was totally out of character from Ashley. They did a biopsy at the same time and discovered this rare muscle condition called CAPS disease. And
is that a muscular dystrophy cousin?
Well, look, we sort of, when people sort of say they don't know what it is, that's what we sort of, compare it to. It's not the same, as it's not degenerative. It doesn't get any worse. But when he goes through the stages of life, growth cycles, puberty, that kind of thing, it actually affected him quite bad.
Elaine Harris, ABC Northern Tasmania, talking with Tony Miller about his new book, One Puddle Too Many, dedicated to, and in fact about the life of his son Ashley, who died a year ago today. Tony, one very powerful message in your book is a plea for tolerance. The assumptions that people make, the attitudes you encountered against Ashley, people with disabilities. What kind of thing did happen? What sort of thing are you talking about?
Well, look, I'll make one instance when we were coming through Melbourne Airport, and it was still after that 9/11, and security airport was sort of strong. Well, obviously when he came through the metal detector, the rods in his back set it off.
Of course.
And so I was behind the security guard, and she had the
camera thing.
The handheld one, and she said the terms, "I'll just put this magic wand over you." And I looked at him, and he had that face of, the Ashley face of sort of, I'm not stupid type thing.
Why are you talking to me like an idiot?
Yeah, why are you talking to me like I'm only, 8 or 9, when really he was 16 at the time, and he was a very intelligent young man. He did so well academically, even though he had to miss out on a lot of his studies.
Yes, you have his school reports in the book, and it's A nearly all the way through. Were there many instances like that from bureaucracy as well as from people in the street who would talk down or make assumptions?
Well, obviously there was the people who would shout, raise their voice at him, thinking that, he could understand better. There was also, he was ostracised by, the students in his teenage years.
Really?
In high school, yeah. And then when he finally got into college, he started to go online and make a lot of friends online where he didn't, where he didn't have to show his
because
disability.
It's non-judgmental. They can't see him, so they don't know.
And he was brilliant on video games and kind of things like that. His brother was always, who was 3 years old, was always jealous of him, beating him and that kind of thing. And so he became very popular, so to the point where, he'd sort of go, I'm trying to run away from all these, what they call noobs, which were, the new players. And he would, have a different, there was a different person, and
he could be himself.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, they wouldn't judge him by the way he looked and his bent back and his skinny nature.